Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 337. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by my constant companion, Charlie Carden.
Hey, happy Sunday.
Yeah, and we are joined today by a new guest, and it's harder to hide that there's a guest when you do video podcasts. So we wanted to do an introduction to Chris from the 1 Hour, 1 Decision podcast. Chris has been on co-op mode with myself and Mark, along with his co-host Tom, and basically both of you are kind of big geeks, so we appreciate that. And I'm like, perfect people to have on the show. Obviously, no video game podcast talk on the show, which is perfectly fine. So, Chris, you get to stretch some new geek muscles. So, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks so much, guys, for having me on. Super excited to talk about the things that we're going to talk about today. So, let's get it going.
Rock on.
Before we get started, though, we want your geek origin. How did you become the awesome nerd you are today?
I guess for me, it was my dad brought home a bunch of comics, and I just fell in love with them, like reading Spider-Man, Batman. Like Batman has always been my guy. I was never a Superman fan. Sorry to anyone that is a Superman fan.
No.
I don't know. Are there a ton of them?
I don't know. There has to be, right? Because his comic book is worth millions upon millions of dollars. So anyway, and you know, just since then, I did a little. I used to draw a lot of stuff, and stopped that a little bit, but that's okay. And but yeah, like it's just been ingrained in me. So like comics, video games, all that stuff. It was just anything that I can consume in that way. I always loved it. So that was my origin, so to speak, of that.
Nice. You know, you got to love it when those parents just bring you home cool stuff versus here's some homework or here's a chore you can do.
Right. Chores. Delightful.
Yeah, I think every parent has someone that has hopefully contributed to their geekness. I know my mom took me to see Transformers the movie. She took me to the Revco drugstore to buy comic books. So we need a little help along the way. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for being cool.
And same here. Dad took me to my brother and I see The Empire Strikes Back when I was 4. There was the Notre Dame Pharmacy in my hometown of Grosse Pointe, Michigan, where I got Star Wars issue number 60, for 60 whole cents when I was 6 years old. Started my love of comics. And, obviously I didn't have any money, so that was all my mom. So, and then the Indiana Jones comics at the same time. First comic subscription that Mom got. So for us, so that we could read it right at home. So yeah, thank you, geek enabling parents everywhere. You made us who we are in a good way.
Yeah. And something that the group could contribute to, and that is by giving us a great 5-star review on iTunes. Subscribe there. Tell us what you like about the show, and we'll read it on the show, any reviews. And also on YouTube, we're trying to grow that channel quite a bit. You subscribe, we eventually will get our own custom URL for that. And you can see our lovely faces and see what we're doing in the world. You can see the background that I'm using today in the Batcave. So in the future, you never know where I'll be. I might be on in Duckburg and hanging out with the ducks from DuckTales. We'll see.
Sure, why not? Could be.
Absolutely. But something else you could see, actually can't see because I'm not sharing my screen, which is the cover that blesses this specific episode. And that is, Chris, for you. We've got Batman number 337. Batman apparently likes to ski like James Bond. I didn't know he had bat skis.
And does he want to build a snowman? Not anymore. Yeah, this looks rough. So this is we didn't have a cover price on this one, or we don't have a month. But this is just based on by the costume. I'm going to go early 80s, 337. So Todd, what do you think? I guess this would.
I'm going to say 70s.
Okay, gotcha.
That classic blue and yellow, maybe.
I'm curious, so I'm gonna find this out just to satisfy my own curiosity.
That logo too. I don't think they had that later,
here.
like in the 80s.
It was 30. Was it 35 cents? 50 cents.
1981.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
1981, yeah.
So, folks,
50 cents. So there you
Yep,
go.
50
Look at
cents.
that.
All right, folks, you
I
can
dig
see it
it.
on my iPhone device, and you can play along at home. It's interesting because it has an extra story, Robin the Teen Wonder in Murder in the Midway. And then we got, obviously, Batman taking on, I don't know, is this like a Scooby-Doo mystery where it's not really a abominable snowman, but where walks a snowman? So
Right. Pull the mask off, and it's really Old Man Jenkins from the amusement park. If it wasn't for that pesky Cape Crusader. Oh, my.
yeah, fun story. This actually was Chris's first Batman comic. He just didn't want to tell everybody.
Oh, that's okay. that seems like a secret shame worth hiding. Honestly.
If this got you into Batman, wow, you had to love the character.
Big time. Yeah, I'd keep going after this. Oh, my goodness. Well, as exciting as it is, we must keep this train rolling. And speaking of somebody who was around when trains rolled for the first time, that'd be our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb, with our rumors and news. So without further delay, Madam Webb, take it away.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. As Charlie said, you were there when the initial Pacific Rail line went through and brought the United States together. And apparently, you know what? I think you were pretty impressed because it beat when the fact that you actually had to put people on your shoulders and ferry them across the great United States. So moving all your people over on the river was a much better situation. So thank you for your service, Madam Webb.
Give him that third choo-choo in the choo-choo dance, right?
Sure. Why not?
From Lower Decks. You said you were watching Lower Decks. No? Doesn't ring a bell?
Oh, no. I missed that one. Yeah, I missed that one.
Come on. Yeah. That's okay.
Okay. Well, we've got our stories for this week, so thank you for that, Madam Webb. The first one is Why the Last Man has officially gotten a trailer. So this is coming to FX, and then it's coming to Hulu. So that's the new agreement. Disney owns this, which is funny because Why the Last Man is a Vertigo comic owned by DC. So it's weird how you get all of these productions that don't necessarily line up on the networks they are, but I think a lot of these deals were in place before the Disney merger. But Why the Last Man is one of my favorite comic books of all time. Brian K. Vaughan, Pia Guerra, great series. I think 75 issues, complete story, and complete. It's done. It wasn't like Walking Dead where it finally decided to end after 150. But this is the story about one day, any organism with a Y chromosome is essentially dies.
Whoops.
Animals,
that's
humans.
A toughie.
Yeah, and it's just very weird. And this is the story about one human and one monkey. I believe he's a monkey. I think he's capuchin monkey, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to guess if it's a monkey or I don't know other type of.
Was it like the Friends monkey? Like
I
Maurice?
think so. Yeah.
Probably. There you go.
Yeah. So Yorick is the last man, and he basically goes on a path to find his girlfriend and reunite in this world where he is essentially an endangered species. So, Chris, have you seen have you read Why the Last Man?
I've read a couple of issues of it, and I like you. I love the concept. I thought it was really cool. I unfortunately didn't. I do need to finish that book though, so I'll probably go to my comic book store and get that trade and actually read through this whole thing. But I am really. I heard about this. I think this has been in like development hell for a while, right? Was this initially a Fox thing that Fox was going to produce this, or?
God, no. Fox?
Yeah, Charlie, we've talked about this story, Charlie. It was canceled. They changed leads. To your point, Chris, It has been a development hell, and the fact that this is finally getting made. It's funny because the story's about a pandemic, I guess, or we don't know exactly. I can't remember how it was caused, and this was filmed during pretty much a pandemic as well. So I guess it's strange bedfellows.
Yeah, I guess they were able to clear out streets for this because there weren't many people out there. So good for them to take advantage of the pandemic.
Yeah, it was filmed in Cleveland.
Oh boy, they get more bang for their buck, I guess. Down in hot in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Charlie,
Lord.
you have not read the comic, but you watched the trailer. So what do you think?
Am I remembering that? Wasn't John Byrne involved in this initially? Wasn't this one of his deals, or did he do something?
No, not at all.
Did he have a name of something that was like
he did
this?
The Next Men.
The Next Men. I knew there was the Next Men, Last Men, X-Men. I'm intrigued, without a doubt. Now you've got President Diane Lane, that wow, teenage heartthrob. Now the president. You see how far women can come in basically in the world of science fiction. I love it. But
all it takes is all the men to die for a woman to finally become president.
You didn't have to come right out and say it, but wow, that is really what happened. Yeah, I'd say it. No, I'm intrigued. And this is I enjoy a show that I can slide into, and I know it's not going to be a lifelong commitment because most shows are 8, 10, 12 episodes these days. Sorry, dudes, early morning. Not that we're recording in the early morning. I just had an early morning. But yeah, I'm intrigued. So we're seeing this potentially this fall. Do we have a date on this?
I believe it's coming very soon. Like it's either September or the beginning of October. Let me look and see. Let's see. Sometimes they'll put in the notes when it actually debuts. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. Maybe it's at the end of the trailer. I can look that up really quick. But regardless, yeah, this is coming very soon. So this is making me very excited, and we are going to get inundated with quality and cool geek content. Charlie, you put a story about all these shows that are coming even this week, and just all these things are finally culmination. So it kind of feels like the floodgates of everything that's been wanting to be made because of COVID got held back, and now they're just like, we want to get this out there. So we're going to get a little overwhelmed, but that's where the good stuff will stand out, and the bad stuff you can just watch an episode and move on.
The bad stuff, just wash it out. Woo! Away it goes. Very good. Well, that's cool. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. So moving on, something that I got a colossal eye roll out of me is this next story we got here. So we're talking about Star Wars, which, quite frankly, they should be a little bit more begging with some of the money that they're looking for, because the last movie kind of underwhelmed at the box office. It was a couple of years ago. Yeah, they're riding really high in The Mandalorian, but right now we've got The Bad Batch, which, as we talk about over on Holocron Chronicles, is really a mixed bag, and it's literally the only thing they've got going on right now. But Disney is potentially getting a little big for their britches with their latest I would almost say kind of it's almost like a theme park offering, because I had to look this over a couple times to figure out what exactly is this thing. So no, it's the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, which is a cruise ship. I'm hoping
it's not. It's a actual like landlocked hotel that has the appearance of a star cruiser, and this is essentially like being put into, rather than like a cruise where you're just walking around, you might see a person. This is a full immersive experience for 2 full days. So think about this. This is like walking into the Renaissance Festival, but everybody being paid very well to basically have roles. You never feel like you're walking out of the experience. You actually wear costumes as a guest. So you are essentially in a story that takes 2 days.
That is very exciting. It is. And, it does remind me of the Las Vegas Hilton's Star Trek The Experience back in the 1990s, early 2000s, where you had, you had a great recreation of the promenade on Deep Space Nine, Quark's Bar. My brother and I went there. We have a great picture of us, drinking our warp cores and our big glass, which I don't have anymore because it broke eventually. But it was very cool. They had, people in makeup in the bar playing the roles. You had a Ferengi. I reached over, tried to tug on his ear. She was like, oh! So it's like, she says, it is a very immersive experience. That being said, as we continue to scroll down and look at the pricing for some of this, we're looking at for this 2-day experience per night, anywhere between $4,800 and $6,000 per night. So that is,
well, it's here it is. I'll give you a breakdown.
$1,209
per guest per night. So 2 people would be $4,800, and this is the basic cabin. There are nicer cabins. So
right, exactly.
Like, you get a mini fridge and you get a hot plate.
Right. So so it scrolls up to 4 guests per cabin, three kids, 1 adult, $749 or $6,000. So the question is, and again, it's all about what people are willing to pay. So if they roll this out and it's a dud, nobody goes for it, then they're going to know that they've shot too high. So in some ways, you can appreciate, based on their own market research, what they think they can get out of it. Obviously, what they've invested to create it, what they're investing to pay the bit players, the actors, as it were, to be a part of this story. it sounds like there's absolutely a lot to it, but oh my gosh, I just don't. I certainly want to see Galaxy's Edge someday. If April and I make it down to Florida someday before that goes away, because everything goes away eventually. But something like this seems a little out of my interest to want to pay, because it would be she and I. We would obviously, it would just be the two of us. Paying that $5,000, and that's $5,000 a night, so that's $10,000.
No. It's total it's a
total
2-day experience.
Okay, I see that now.
So it's $1,200 per person per night. It does get cheaper, so you could actually get two couples together and reduce your costs essentially by $500 per person per night. So that would be the way to do it, to save some cash.
We'll hook up with Mark and Loren, and they'll fly down from Canada, leave the kid at home, and it'll just be the two. And then the four of us can be all I was going to say Star Trekky, Star Warsy, but I just don't know, man. I mean, Todd, you're not the biggest Star Wars guy out there. We were even talking about that in the pre-roll, that you've had a crisis of faith in recent times with Star Wars being jammed, and it does look like, and that's what's so confusing, is that this appears to be set in the sequel trilogy era. They make a reference to the Resistance, which would be the rebellion of that era. So much like with Galaxy's Edge, they're reaching for that future sequel trilogy era, even though they've wrapped it up. But what's on TV right now is the transitional. It's just at the end of the prequel era, and then we have the Mandalorian, which is after the original trilogy area. So I don't know, man. I mean, as a layperson, or even really Chris, please chime in. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that this sounds like it would be worth the money?
Oof. $6,000. I mean, it better be like the most convincing thing, and like I have to like maybe see one of the actors from one of the films in the experience too, to be able to pay $6,000.
Right. It's like, Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh wow. Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. I couldn't do. Tom is a huge Star Wars fan, so I don't know.
Okay.
He might be on the fence. He might be willing to pay that $6,000.
I mean, even me, I would love to hear Mark Carabin, my co-host on the Holocron Chronicles, take on this deal, because he's been down to Galaxy's Edge, which I'm sure is also not inexpensive. But again, this just, I don't know. I'm not, and I'm also coming from a place where I've not done things like this. Like I said, doing the Star Trek experience, which again was, was a 1-day pass. We went through and we enjoyed it, and then we left. So I'm just not sure. Todd, have you ever done anything of this ilk, or have you ever had kind of the interest to do anything like this? What would get Todd Oxford to spend money like this if it wasn't Star Wars? What would it be?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, I like theme parks, and I really like what Universal Studios did with Harry Potter, because that's the only thing I've been to recently that is embracing like that. You're in the world of it, and Galaxy Edge is the first Disney park to really do that as well. So I like that, and this is obviously a step above. I like going to the Renaissance Festival. I like it when people create a world. I like that a lot. Star Wars would probably not push me, because like I said, I'm just not an uber fan. I appreciate parts of Star Wars, but not enough to like, oh, it's Quabi Boo Boo.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, who's that guy? I don't know, but he looks familiar. But I could
Kajagoogoo.
But I think this is for those Uber fans. This is an exclusive experience. There's only 100 cabins. So think about that. 100 cabins
for 2 nights, and if they do it 7 days a week or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got so many opportunities to do this. I mean, I'm not sure if they're doing this anywhere else in the world, because obviously there's other Disney parks. But I mean, this is going to be a destination and an experience where people say, I will gladly save up 5 years so I can do this. And it's going to mean a lot to them. So I think this will be big. It's like those people that buy those HasLab things. It's like, oh, why would you spend $500 on a toy versus an experience where you're going to remember it for the rest of your life? So I think this is cool. And for me, I don't know what that experience would be. That would be like, yes, you want to do it. Something like that where the cost would be so large. But I just love the idea of being an immersive story. I've always wanted to be in a murder mystery. Like, I would love that. Like being at a hotel where you have to figure out who the murderer is and maybe you get killed. I would love that. So real live Clue experience. I think I would love that.
So Todd, I just have a question. What if you, because of your background, like a live experience of being in Wayne Mansion?
So would I be like Bruce Wayne and I'd get to like do cool stuff, or would I unfortunately be like I am Arthur or not, Alfred or something like that?
No, you'd be Batman. Like it would be like a murder mystery. You'd be in the Batcave. You try to figure out who did what crime.
Ooh, and all like the rogues gallery would come
Yeah.
around. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. That would be very cool. Yeah. I
You'd
mean,
just
I
crank it
think
up.
that could be very cool. I don't know. I mean, Charlie, obviously, you being on a Star Cruiser for 2 nights in that immersive experience, that would probably be for you. Chris,
Yeah,
what would be
I'd say
yours?
so.
I mean, I think that as I was formulating it, that Batman idea would be awesome to be able to
The
figure
Wayne
out.
Mariner experience would be awesome. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Oh, well, I mean, I'm excited. I want to see like I want to see like, because I don't know if you guys saw a little commercial for this thing. It's very cool. It's about the family show up, they work and go there. I want to see what the real experience looks like. So I'm sure there will be video of this coming out, reviews, and it will be hard to get the people who are the Uber fans to be not biased, because I spent $5,000. So regardless if it's the crappiest thing in the world, I'm going to be overexcited because
I don't want
to.
to. I don't want to look like an idiot in front of my friends when they know how
Yeah.
much it costs. Exactly.
Yes. Oh, well. Yeah, more to come on this. This is going to be an interesting scene, and I'm guessing we'll see more and more of these type of experiences in all the parks. And they'll just begin because there's so much fandom, and they can really exploit us if they want to.
So much exploitation. It's delightful.
Yeah. So next story is DC's movie roadmap after the Suicide Squad. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad at the end. We're going to have our spoiler-filled review of that. But, what's coming next? So we've got a story here. Basically, I didn't realize this. The next movie isn't coming until Batman, The Batman, March 4th, 2022.
Wow. So they got a little winter hiatus. Wow.
Was that
Apparently, there was
supposed
a
to
new
come out
trailer.
this year at all?
There was. What's that?
Was that supposed to come out this year and they got pushed back, or
It might have gotten pushed back because of some. That's the hard part. It's like hard to even know what was supposed
Yeah,
to
right.
and what got pushed back. Yeah.
What's what? Exactly.
Yeah, and we did get a trailer for this, but I'm expecting we'll see more and more of this, and we'll get more information about it. As of right now, we just got the one trailer, and I think people are excited about this one.
this looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like very much like Seven, like a murder mystery. Like this is the Batman movie I really wanted to see. Like I appreciate the Nolan stuff and they were really cool, but like first and foremost, he's a detective. So being
Right.
able to see him do his detective work, I'm hoping that they do more of the detective work and not just him punching people.
Right. Exactly.
Is what I'm excited for.
It's kind of, if I might, it's a parallel between Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Wars is explosions and laser beams and Jedi, swinging around laser swords. And then Star Wars, it's a little bit more thoughtful. It's social commentary. It's looking into things and solving problems. So you get different people that like different things. Cool guys walk away from explosions, like the movie we're going to talk about. And then, and other people like something a little bit more cerebral. So Batman being a detective and solving a crime, I think I'd be very interested in seeing that too.
Yeah, the investigation, it kind of like the Batman. We typically do see two sides of Batman. We get the Batman that is over the top, he's fighting aliens, and then we do get the Batman that takes on a mafia boss or something like that, or finds a child killer, which is pretty cool. Kind of like the Batman: The Long Halloween, that animated adaptation just came back. I've heard so many good things about it. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, show.
Yeah. Then we get DC's League of Super Pets. This is going to be more in the Lego, like Batman Lego movie type of comedy, over the top. These are all the pets. They have the super abilities. I believe, I'm trying to remember who the lead actor is in this. Oh, Dwayne Johnson. So The Rock is fully invested in the DC universe with heroes by being crypto.
Yeah, and Kevin Hart with
by
him again.
being crypto. Well, and not only that, he rolls on to the next story as well.
Yeah.
So it's all about him. Black Adam on July 29 of 2022.
Yep. It's wrapped filming, and apparently he even basically decided to remake the costume. He's like, okay, you got me. Why do I need padding? So he ripped the padding out of the suit, and he's now got a suit. Yeah, and apparently they are going to be doing some interesting filming for this in regards to how he uses his powers. So I'm so hyped. I love the Justice Society. I love what Jeff Johns did with Black Adam and Shazam and all those characters, and really changed the character almost like a Dr. Doom type of leader of a country, and kind of being a different type of anti-hero. I'm excited for this. And, The Rock, he makes everything shine. Even Skyscraper, Charlie.
Yo, Skycrapper.
Yes. Then we get The Flash, November 4th, 2022. Apparently, this is now fully engaged. We've got rumors about what this movie will actually be about. We're hearing lots of Batmen will be involved in this. I'm intrigued, and this is probably going to be like a Flashpoint type style movie, which may reseat the DCEU. So, this is going to be interesting.
I'm just like curious how they're going to tie everything together. Are they going to?
Or are they going to tie it, or are they going to flush it? It's just
Yeah.
So
is this a way for them to do like a soft reboot of everything?
That's what this blurb kind of makes it sound like that. So I'll be real interested to see that too. The same way of what's happening, with the multiverse and Marvel. You know what I mean? So it is. That's the answer. Soft reboot through this kind of stuff. So that's all right.
Yeah,
I love it.
You can't be stubborn and just hope that things will just keep, if you fail enough, that'll finally work. I mean, I think it's time to say, yep, we kind of know probably what works now and reboot, especially with all the DC leadership and Warner Brothers leadership changes. I think they just kind of have to take what worked and then incorporate it maybe in something cool in the future. Then we get Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, December 16th, 2022. I liked the first Aquaman. It was more of like a adventure movie rather than a superhero film. Like it kind of felt like Jumanji or Indiana Jones type film, looking for things. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best movie in the world, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I heard it was decent. So
it is. Don't stay for the pit bull cover of Africa though. That was kind of lame. Felt like shoehorned in.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh my God! All right, what else we got? Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, then potentially tying into the Black Adam is Shazam: Fury of the Gods, June 2nd, 2023. Once again, I felt this was one of the better DC films in regards to it was just more fun, goofy, over the top. Where they go next, but Helen Mirren's in this movie, so you know what? Helen Mirren brings the fans and the sex appeal.
She brings the something.
She's
awesome. No, I'm looking forward to it. I loved this movie.
He is wearing padding, right?
He is.
I think he does.
I think so. I know they changed the costume for this one. Like the sequel, there's a different costume. So I don't know if they're going to thin it down because he did get a little bit stronger, but Zach Levi's never been like a huge dude.
Right.
Yeah. Then we get Batgirl. This movie, they aren't settling on a date, so nothing's been secured, but they did cast the lead actress in The Heights. Leslie Grace is going to be Barbara Gordon. And apparently this is going to be one of the HBO Max exclusive movies. So it's not going to be a TV series, but this will be a movie made for HBO Max. So this is their way to try some things on a smaller scale, but also make exclusive content to get people to check out HBO Max. So, because they've said none of their movies going forward will go day and date in 2022 HBO Max. So essentially, they need something that'll get people still to come see their content on HBO Max.
Right. Looks like a lot of this stuff that's up and coming is just kind of hanging. It's a 2-year window, so they must be waiting for a lot of release dates for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, Blue Beetle. I mean, we did get the announcement that the Miguel from Karate Kid is going to be cast as Blue Beetle, which Blue Beetle, story about a boy or a teen who gets the scarab artifact that's an alien artifact, transforms him, gives him special abilities. He's made a big appearance on Young Justice, so I like the character. I think this is also going to be another HBO Max exclusive film, so we're going to get more of these new characters on screen, so I'm very excited about this.
Excellent.
And is Booster Gold actually making an appearance? It says it here in
the. It could. I mean, because Booster Gold and I think Chris, you were talking about this on the Discord group. Basically, yeah. I mean, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are buddies, but then we've got different versions of Blue Beetle, so it would be cool to see Booster Gold finally make an appearance.
That's cool. Very cool.
Supergirl 2022, 2023. We do know the actress was Cass Sasha Kaye. Other than that, don't know anything at all. Same thing with Green Lantern Corps 2022. I've heard some things about this. Hopefully it truly is going to be good. This is going to be a TV series, apparently about the Green Lantern Corps, which you like. Zatanna, great character. Just saw her in Justice League Dark. She is fantastic. That could be cool. It could be more of the magical part of the DC universe. 2022, 2023. Static Shock, a great character. Once again, was a cartoon character. Was in the Milestone universe. Milestone universe is back. Static Shock is back. He is great. He's like a young hero that really is a standout. So.
Will Black Lightning show up in that one?
That would be kind of cool too, because Black Lightning, we did get him in the CW, and I think his series is over. But yeah, he would be a great mentor for Static Shock. Wonder Woman 3, December 2023. Don't know much about this one, where it will take place, but Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins are back. We have the Amazons, which apparently is a spin-off. Don't know how this will play out, when it'll take place either.
Right.
Blackhawk, he is a World War II pilot. Steven Spielberg apparently is involved in this.
Said he'd been wanting to make, but yeah, so he did sign up to direct in 2018 and script written, but yeah, it seems a little iffy. Yeah, I think we get into the end of this where things get a little iffy, because you've got Our Man plus, Joker plus Superman reboot, Justice League Dark, which you said was a cartoon that was out. So yeah, so this gets a little more stretched out as time goes by, but yeah, some of those seem very interesting. It does, it's funny, Johnny and I, our other founding secret, and we're talking about this, is that for, at the bottom of the list is a maybe Superman reboot. So getting Superman right seems to still be kind of elusive to all of DC, but it's nice to see them branching out and embracing some things that really do work. Parts of Wonder Woman worked, and the Shazam really worked, so they're going after that, and then they're trying this new direction with Batman. So it's all entertainment in one shape or form. Maybe it's going to be great, maybe it's going to be terrible, but they do keep trying, and people do keep going to see them, even though I think it's a really weird model with what we're going to talk about with the Suicide Squad and kind of how that box office looks. But anyway.
Yeah, and last we talked about previously, Charlie, the Michael B. Jordan Val Zod Superman movie. I believe that is coming out, which is, once again, it's really cool looking at the DC, what is it, the 52 worlds of DC, and there are Supermen on each planet, and that one would be a cool character, and he already exists. It's a great opportunity then to bring a new face to Superman, and it potentially could be what drives people to get excited about Superman, because he's like 85 years old.
Right, exactly correct. So, all right, we good? We moving along? What is next?
Absolutely.
Is that me? So,
Charlie.
Bouncing back to Star Wars again, and again, I love Lego, the games, not Legos, physically Legos anymore. It's a long story, but I have kind of a thing against Legos, but we don't need to get into that. But it looks like Disney Plus is producing a special for Halloween for Star Wars, which I like, because that is just like Christmas. You never really got a feeling that was a Star Wars holiday. They had a Christmas special last year. Now they're going the holiday route. Tony Hale and Christian Slater set to star. Hale is Van A, which is not a character I'm familiar with, and Slater as Ren, Kylo Ren. They just use those names. So, and then transitioning into some of their regulars: Poe Dameron, Grabella the Hutt, Emperor Palpatine, and Darth Vader, et cetera, et cetera. So fun stuff. Yeah, Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales, and again set after The Rise of Skywalker. So I suppose it's canonically linked only to the Lego Christmas special. So, but I think that's fun. I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, are you into any of like the Lego stuff? Because now it's like the Lego universe of characters and content, movies, games. You a fan?
I think my kids have desensitized me to all that now, because they were constantly playing the Lego Marvel game, and that was my mistake. That was my mistake. I gave them that, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it'd be fun because I did enjoy the Lego movies. They were really good. So yeah, I'm excited. Especially Tony Hale is always one of my favorites. So just being able to hear him and see him do more stuff is always fun. So
most def. And then just as a writer to this, I don't have a story for it, but and again, this is a head scratcher for me, and we talk about this a lot over on Holocron Chronicles, but the Bad Batch has been renewed for a second season. Season 1 of Bad Batch ends next week with episode 16 over on Disney Plus. That comes out on Fridays. Todd, I know you kind of jumped ship on this immediately. I know John, who is our other secret friend, jumped on it. I think jettisoned even faster than you did, and he's a Star Wars guy. So it's just, yeah. Chris, a thought?
So Tom has been trying to convince me to watch this as well, but he told me to watch, like, I think there's 4 episodes in the final season of Clone Wars.
Yes,
Yeah.
the last 4.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now that one is a wonderful story arc. I'll
Yeah.
definitely give you that.
So I watched, like, I got through that, but then I was like, I got into I don't think I even got to see the first episode of Bad Batch yet. So
Yeah,
I've been meaning to. but there's just so many other things I really want to
I
watch.
know.
And
No,
like,
it's true. It's true. No, I totally get you. So yeah, we don't need to dig too deeply into Bad Batch, but I mean, they must have had a reason for renewing it. Disney must be getting what they want out of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get what they want us to get out of it or what we want to get out of it. But somebody somewhere is seeing this as a good idea. So
I can tell you what that thing is, Shirley. Kids like it. And what do kids do that complain if their parents don't have Disney Plus because Bad Batch is on it? They'll complain to their parents and nag them and things like this. I mean, it is the Clone Wars. Those things were for kids, and that they continue to make it. And right now, that's about the only thing they can get out the door that's really super family friendly with Star Wars. Because outside of that, The Mandalorian at times cannot be family friendly, and the rest of the content coming out is a little bit more adult. So I guess that's their main thought is we need something that the kids will like, and I imagine it's pretty cheap to do the series too. They've got the voice actors, they've got the models. I am surprised though, the first season was 16 episodes. That's a long season in today's content. So I'm just
big time.
Yeah. So
the whole thing does seem like kind of a quasi enigma. What you're saying kind of makes sense, but still,
And this is Dave Filoni helped with.
Yes.
Big time. It's part of the Filonity, like a Filoni dynasty.
Yeah,
Filonji. There you go.
The Filoni Star Wars universe, the FSWU.
There you go.
I made that one up. Yeah.
It'd be an acronym for anything. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's probably 2022, and then we'll probably get season 2 of that if you are interested. Last story is pretty cool. My wife was a big fan of this book series called Fat Vampire. And it was kind of taking the mindset of, well, when we typically see vampires, they're typically, beautiful, thin, sexy. Well, what happened if you were kind of in your awkward phase of being 16-year-old kid who maybe, hasn't come into his own. He's got pimples and a little overweight. That's what the story is basically the Fat Vampire, and they're making it into a TV series. And it's kind of cool the fact that they are the person they've casted is Ned from the Spider-Man movies. Jacob, I'm going to blank on his name. Is it
Battalion that says at the top?
Battalion. Yeah, he's Filipino. That's right. And he basically, in a world populated by beautiful, fit, and vampires, he wants to kill them all because he's probably a little bit upset about that. So, this is coming to, let's see, is it Sci-Fi? I'm trying to think where it's coming.
Yep, that's what it says.
Okay, it's coming to Sci-Fi, and it's basically built off 6 books. So they've already got everything set. They can just adapt it. But I like the fact that they've cast someone who doesn't look like your normal vampire. So I like this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's funny. Even in this photo, he looks like he's been hitting the gym. He doesn't look like he looks.
He looks a little more intense.
Yeah. Well, no, he looks a little bit more fit. So I'm like, it's weird that where he was, he's a heavier set guy in those movies. So who knows? But maybe this is what he looks like now, and they filmed this a couple years ago, and he was heavier. Who knows? But yeah, that sounds cool. But again, with Sci-Fi, where do the rest of us watch that content?
The Sci-Fi app, Charlie. That's actually where I've been watching everything. It comes out the day of or on, and you just get commercials.
Oh, which is like CW. That's how we've been watching Superman Low. So that's good.
It. Yeah.
Good deal. All right. Well, that I think takes us about out of there, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be rolling on down the road, calling an Uber, and getting us over to our favorite geek establishment for cover bands and heavily watered down cocktails. That would be the Geek Easy. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Chris, you kick us off. What have you been excited about in the world of something you can read or watch?
Well, what I've been reading recently, because I've heard a lot of good things about this book, Something is Killing the Children.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard I heard there. I think there's supposed to be a show coming out or a movie or something like that with it. I apologize. I don't know. I forgot. But it was. I went to a local comic convention and everyone was really hyped about this. So yeah, I've been starting to read that book. It's been pretty interesting. Definitely very violent and with children. So
Wow.
yeah, but and then I just finished watching the He-Man series, The Masters of the Universe, which I guess was very controversial. I didn't realize that.
Isn't anything very controversial if it's a new take? I mean,
I guess
my
that's true.
God, does with the stuff in Star Trek, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
You can't ever do anything that's not super cookie cutter without somebody flipping their wig. You know,
Yeah.
some we just refer to them as neckbeards. You know, the basement dwellers that still think it's 1982. I've got a guy on my Facebook feed, and he'll go nameless, and Todd knows exactly who I'm talking about because the two of them went loggerheads at more than one time. But this guy, all he ever posts about is his collection of 10,000 DVDs and how much he loves movies from 1982, and just want to post about it and post about it and post about it. So getting stuck in the past never really helps with anything. You never really get to enjoy anything at all that comes out that's new. So
What did you think of it, Chris? Because I talked about it when it first came out. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was really cool. And it was a different take, some couple of twists and stuff like that I thought were interesting. Yeah, like if the story is going to be the same, like how does anything kind of evolve, or how do we see other facets of these characters if it's always going to be the same? And then obviously people are going to complain if it was the same thing also. So you're never going to make everyone happy. So just roll with it and let's just see what happens, because I think there's supposed to be a second part.
I hope so. They left that in a spot where, I mean, something's got to happen, because
right.
It was kind of weird. It was almost like it's like only half season is out, which I found very weird. So I don't know if it's like they just need to finish it up or what it means.
Right. So yeah, excited. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, although I know you're a video game fan, and I watched Castlevania on Netflix, which I enjoyed a lot. Yep. That first season was only 4 episodes, which I found very weird. It was like, that's super short. And then it got longer. So maybe that's the thing. They're only doing 5 episodes, and then season 2 will be longer.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the after, like, the post movie, like the, what do you call it? The interviews with like Kevin Smith and all that after, and they did say it almost seemed like it was like a 2-part series, like that was it, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll take more. I mean, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready to see those characters, some more of those characters. And yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I spent some time on Netflix as well. Charlie, I did just let you know, follow up. You talked about American Horror Story, so I did watch the first episode of that.
Cool.
I watched that, and man, oh man, all I can tell you is
brutal.
Being parents is hard today. That girl,
I know,
is not. Yeah, she's not destined for good things.
No, well, you saw the whole first episode, so you know that's the one that's been a 2-parter that's been so far. But there's nothing any better that happens in the second part. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine it's going to end, and it's going to end anywhere good for anybody. But then I didn't realize this had come out, which is Transformers: War for Cybertron Kingdom. So this is the third. They're calling it like a trilogy. So the first one was Siege, which happens on Cybertron. The second one I have not watched yet. So I definitely want to watch that as 2, which is basically, I can't remember the name. Is it Earthrise? Something. I'm trying to remember what it is. Happens on Earth. It's like, think of like the classic G1 type of era type of thing. And then this is the Kingdom, which is based on Beast Wars, which those are kind of like the 3 eras of Transformers. I was always a big fan of Beast Wars. Charlie, back in Michigan State when we were there, I used to record that daily on just to watch it, because I was like, this is actually a pretty cool take on the Transformers. Seems like it's grown up, actually better written. And it's also CG at the time when CGI really didn't happen for cartoons. It was kind of like that original era. So it wasn't great, but it's still, I thought it really made me excited about Transformers again, which is great. So this one is based on the toy lines, or it's kind of a collaboration, toy lines and this plus probably comics, where everything looks exactly like the toys now, which I think is cool because they can use the models and they can use them exactly what they want to do to make it sure it's very canonical and very thematically the same. And I like this one because I just watched the first episode, but basically introduces where we're at. No spoilers, but basically we're on the planet where essentially we're meeting the Maximals and Predacons version of Transformers we know and love, and there's more there. And I like it. The only thing my only nit to pick is the voice actors they chose for both Megatron, the Beast version of Megatron, and also Optimus Primal. I think they found these guys on the corner because they had no gravitas. I mean, these are classic characters. I mean, you want to have some gravitas. And I know they're not the same as Peter Cullen and I think it was Frank Welker did the voices. So very iconic, animated icons. But these guys doing it, they just don't stand out. I could not tell who, if I didn't get to see them, I would have an idea of who they were performing as. So a little disappointing there, but I like the format.
But they weren't involved with Beast Wars though, right?
No, they weren't, and that's the thing. It was there definitely new voice actors for those series back in the day, but this one, but at least those actors kind of sounded like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, and the way they performed. But yeah, these guys just feel like very flat. But it's enjoyable and far better than the Michael Bay series. So it's fine, and it's for the kids.
What could be for the kids? It's all for the kids.
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right, Charlie. I'm excited about what you saw because
my God.
I warned you about this movie, Charlie. I'm like, I don't know if this is for you, dude.
It's one of those that the wife and I and with me, I'm starting a new job tomorrow, and I'm going to be in Wisconsin and then in Ohio for a period of 6 to 12 weeks training for my new job. So what April and I love to do, and we went ahead and canceled it because we're not going to be doing it at least until I get back, is that we had this VIP program at the local theater where you could go see 3 movies a week. Any movie at all, which is just absolutely for like $20 a person. So it was $40 a month. It was a great deal. So the only thing that we hadn't seen that wasn't like The Boss Baby or whatever was The Green Knight. And this had Dev Patel, and was he from that Yesterday, that Beatles movie? Wasn't that him?
He was.
No,
yes.
He was Slumdog.
No, it wasn't him. Slumdog Millionaire. Life of Pi. Was he in Life of Pi as well?
Life of Pi. Yep.
2 movies I don't think I've seen, so maybe I really don't know him. But so this was a spin on it was an alternate spin on an Arthurian legend, which we had to go back and look up because both April and I, it's a Friday night. We had dinner beforehand. We ate. We had a couple of drinks, and we're sitting there, and this movie comes on, and I am, swear to God, within the first 20 minutes, I'm like napping to the point where I guess I was snoring. April had to bonk. But then I was switched on. I was trying to pay attention, and it is about this knight's quest. In this, he is Dev Patel's character. He's the nephew of Arthur or of the king of this village, I think. And this like dude who looks like the king from the Return to Oz, which I saw when I was a kid, that he was all, he looks like he's carved out of twigs or something, shows up and says, I challenge you or whatever, and he hands over an axe, and Dev Patel chops his head off, and the Green Knight picks it up and says, "Come find me in a year, and I'm going to chop your head off." And right from there, I'm lost. I'm like, okay, don't go then, because that sounds like a bad idea. But no, Dev Patel goes on a quest, and a bunch of weird shit happens. He gets mugged, loses his horse. Then he shows up at a castle. Alicia Vikander from that movie where she's the sexy naked robot. She's there, and she tries to seduce him, and she gives him a magic, spoilers, by the way, gives him a magic cloth to wear around his neck or to wear around his waist, and if he never takes it off, he'll never be wounded. And oh my God, you guys. And then I get home, and I write something about it on Facebook, and I can feel a hand closing around my neck. Because people are like, "What are you talking about? I heard it's the greatest thing in God's green earth," and I went and looked. It's got an 84% on Metacritic. I mean, people are really loving on this thing. And April and I was sitting opening credits. We're like, "What the fuck happened? What is going on here?" We have absolutely no clue. So this was a time we rolled the dice. We had the opportunity to go see something. It was a little bit out of our wheelhouse. It was from A24 Productions, which they make a lot of artsy fartsy kind of films. But I mean, this was everything from, a talking fox to the fact that he walked in a valley and there's giant naked women walking. One of them is breastfeeding. There was just a lot of weird shit going on in this movie. Mad respect if you enjoy that kind of thing. We were totally lost from the jump.
Fantasy is not for you, Charlie. I don't know if you've ever told me one fantasy movie you've ever liked. It's just not your thing.
I loved Time Bandits, which this kind of reminded me of because of all of the bleak English countryside, or what felt like the English countryside. Todd, I would like you to see this movie, and I would like your impression.
I think I will see it because I am a fan of mythology, Arthurian legend, all of those things. This is based off a tale back in the day. Lots of magic, lots of things. I really loved Excalibur, that movie, and just really love that era. So I'll see if it's
good.
Just
and I didn't
artsy or something. Or
I did not spoil the ending for you, so you're good. And then real briefly in the real world, April and I run a Star Trek fan club, a chapter of the International Fan Club here in Michigan. We had great success early in later in 2019 when we launched, and then early in 2020 doing shows and interacting with people in the local community, getting them to join our club. And then everything came to a screeching halt. Obviously with COVID, there are no events. So we are attending our first event in 18 months here in Grand Rapids. It's kind of a baby version of our local con, which was the one that got us launched, which happens in November, and that show will be happening in November. So, it's funny, going into 2020, we had 10 different shows scheduled that we were going to go. Now we're down to 3. We're doing this one in October, and then the larger version of this show in November. So we're very excited. We've called together our core members. We have a smaller booth. It's not going to be a big display, but it is a chance just to get out there in the fan community, in the Star Trek fan community, and interact with people. And get them to join our club and some of the activities that we do. So we're really fired up about that. I'm missing a portion of it, of course, because of my new job. I have to drive to Milwaukee, which is about a 4-hour drive. Then I have to drive home, so I'll miss the first day, but I'll be there all day Saturday and probably all day Sunday, and then I have to drive back to Wisconsin. But I'm still fired up to do it. It's going to be a good time. We're cosplayers, though that's not explicitly a piece of it. But we like to do up our booth nice and have paraphernalia and just generally kind of spread our love of Star Trek. So very fired up about that.
Go ahead, Chris.
Just to for your reference, Tom did watch this movie as well, and he's a huge King Arthur all that stuff, and he was. He wished it was not that long of a movie.
No.
I think it was just it stayed its course. It stayed too long.
I mean, you could certainly see the middle piece with the valley with the naked walking giants. Didn't really add anything to the film. But Todd, I'm not going to say anymore. I do want you to go see it.
Yeah. My plan is to see some more movies because I've been kind of out of the loop. So definitely we'll try to do that. Well, you know what? I'm excited to see more movies and talk about in the Geekies in the future. But gentlemen, it's time for us now to go on our own adventure, to travel to the land beyond time, and that's the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week, we are doing our spoiler-filled review of The Suicide Squad, 2021 movie directed by James Gunn, with some familiar faces from the 2016 Suicide Squad film. This is
or 3.
Yes,
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
There you go.
Yeah, 2 or 3, somewhere there. Basically, this was in theaters and also on HBO Max, where I watched it on HBO Max. So it is there. If you have not seen it yet, either subscribe to HBO Max or see it in the theater, then come back and join the discussion with us, because we are going to break this down. Pros, cons, and our score 1 out of 10. So, Chris, you're our guest. So, tell us your thoughts on the Suicide Squad.
Well, I didn't see the first one because I heard it was very disjointed and like a typical DC movie.
If I can have a quick sidebar,
Yeah.
about the first one, a couple of years back, Scott Rechkovich, who's one of our regular guys on the SFU discussion group, gifted me the code to this, and it was the theatrical and the extended. And we never watched it because, again, I saw it in the theater with a buddy of mine, and I thought April was there as well. We start watching it again today. She says to me, because we saw the first one, she says, "I've never seen this." Because you told me it was terrible. And I'm like, who did I see it with? I know I saw it with my friend Louie, and I think I took April's son, my stepson. This was, 5 years ago. And I'm like, I thought we were all together. So, oh well. I don't think she really feels like she missed much. But anyway.
Yeah, and Ayers, who directed the Suicide Squad in 2016, says his cut was completely mangled and all this stuff. So if you want to see it, Chris, you're not missing out on anything. It felt like a movie done by committee and
Pretty
just
much.
was trying to be a response to Guardians of the Galaxy, which is very funny because now we've got the man who made the Guardians of the Galaxy who made this film.
And that was the real response that.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I was super excited to see this because I am a fan of the Guardians movies, and James Gunn did, I thought, a great job with those. But I didn't know what to feel about this movie after watching it. I mean, I think James Gunn usually does a pretty good job with an ensemble cast. Like everyone had their moments to shine, which was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters I thought were neat. Like, King Shark for me was amazing. It was hilarious. What's his name? Bloodsport was great. It was fun. Obviously Peacemaker was also a great foil to Bloodsport.
Right.
And yeah, like, so, but at the same time, like, I think he tried, like, James Gunn tried to like shoehorn a lot of Guardians stuff in this, like, to be really like jokey and stuff like that, but it was incredibly violent. Like, it was like, it was like right from the get-go, it was like, holy God, like,
it was like super R+.
Yeah.
R plus.
It was
definitely did not dumb down the violence so he could get in front of the kids.
Right.
No.
Yes, exactly. What do they say? FM kids.
Yeah. but I mean, the jokes were there, and I think I read an article somewhere where Marvel, where people were like, Marvel sometimes takes that part where, like, there could be an emotional scene, and then they throw like a joke in there, and like it just kills
like a random fart. Just
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And like I feel like they did that a lot in this movie. So like there were moments where, like, he's trying to connect with where Bloodsport is trying to connect with Ratcatcher 2 and like kind of relate to his daughter and stuff like that, and then like something stupid would happen. I'm like, oh, okay, well that moment's gone. But and I thought, like, he again, like James tried to throw like the soundtrack, like some sort of soundtrack to the background of it. And sometimes I felt like the music was kind of disjointed with what was going on.
Yeah, that was one of my notes too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I did enjoy my time. It was, like I said, I was laughing at some of the violence because it was just so ridiculous. But I had a good time overall. A couple of my friends judged me after saying I enjoyed this movie. They were like, I was like, well, I don't know. I just thought it was enjoyable, but
no judgment here, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Look, no judgment here.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Charlie.
There you go. Anything that I can do. Well, she was going to show up eventually. It's my cat. Sorry.
But like, in terms of breaking down pros and cons, yeah, like I think this was probably my more enjoyable DC movies that I've seen, which really isn't saying much, I guess, because there has been quite a few duds there. Mm-hmm. I like the cast of characters, and the story overall was meh, and but again, I guess it adds more to the DC universe because, like, this Corto Maltese is like something that happens in the overall DC world, like that is a place. And then but the cons, yeah, like I said, the music was kind of disjointed. The just the fact that everything was kind of like too jokey, and it was just a little bit too over, like ridiculous. Well, it was ridiculously violent. You cannot watch this with your kids, so please do not do that. But yeah, if I were to score this movie, maybe 7.5.
Okay.
Wow,
That's very fair. That's very fair. Yeah.
It's and uniquely. But Todd, are you going next or am I going next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
It is kind of interesting. So I really enjoyed this movie, but I recognize its flaws because unfortunately a lot of movies that came before this kind of set the bar in a certain way, negative or positive. One of those would be obviously Deadpool, where it creates that over the top, in your face, over violent, comedic type of tone. Since then, we did get Guardians of the Galaxy, which did something a little different, which was kind of cartoonish, goofy, playing with music by James Gunn. So then we have kind of those two bars that were kind of like doing different things, but doing superheroes in a different light. Unfortunately, a lot of movies since then have tried to kind of capture that lightning in a bottle, and you can't. So you have to do something different. One of those movies would be It's Suicide Squad versus the Suicide Squad. So dumb. They should just like Suicide Squad : blah blah blah, so you just can kind of differentiate two.
Suicide Squad's : that could be a name of this episode.
Inside the colon, yeah. Inside the colon, yes. That'd be perfect.
Colon.
Yeah, that would be the definitely the death shot. But we had that movie which tried to mirror what Guardians of the Galaxy was, but just failed miserably because it just didn't have a good story, didn't have good writing. Just all the things went wrong there, and obviously a lot of bad editing. And then we also had Harley Quinn in whatever that long title was, the Emancipation, blah, 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 blah.
Emancipation Proclamation,
which I thought was Much Ado About Nothing. I didn't feel like the characters were great. I didn't even think Harley Quinn was handled that great.
It did,
and I just think.
And it got nary a mention in any of this, yeah. So
absolutely. But then we also got Harley Quinn the cartoon, which I find fantastic. It's one
of the better things they've done with the characters that show. It's fun.
Yeah, so then you can kind of see where all these things kind of sit, and then even MODOK, Charlie. It's another layering in where superheroes and those type of stories can go, villains. So this one's kind of in the middle of that, where it's James Gunn, so he's got his own vision. He plays fast and loose. He's very over the top, in your face, typically violent and gross because he's from Troma Films. The fact that he made Guardians of the Galaxy so restrained but still hit on those beats with music was very cool. Here was just kind of like he could do whatever he wanted. He enjoyed that. And I liked the fact that the pacing in this movie, yes, it was a longer movie, 2 hours, 20 minutes, but I kind of felt like even in the interludes and things happening, I didn't feel like, wow, that was a horrible, misplaced experience. I felt like some of them were less interesting, like going to the bar, waiting for Peter Capaldi. That was fun, but it wasn't horrible, but it still gave a piece of something happening. We had a lot of those with like Harley and the President, and then we had this. But I thought it was interesting. I like the way they kind of went from beats to beats and told some stories. I like the fact that they just jumped right in. They didn't have a huge, it's like, here we are, we're in the meeting. It was like, oh, that's a segue. That was kind of interesting how they did that.
And that was a big follow of that first film, which again we started watching this afternoon. Is that there was a lot of it's like a tempo, let's go. Just really couldn't get it started.
Absolutely. We did get a cohesive plot. I mean, you're there to take down Starro, and that's exactly what they came to do. Things went along the way. They did meet some friends along the way. They made friends, and they took over the government. And so I mean, but I did love the playoff of Idris Elba and his character and John Cena just kind of having basically a pissing contest the whole time.
Right.
Very fun watching them kill the people different ways. I did like the characters, the fact that they weren't scared to knock off characters very quickly, even characters that were from the first film, which I thought was interesting in taking and embracing what the Suicide Squad is all about, that these are highly disposable people. If anything goes wrong, take him out of the film. You thought Michael Rooker was going to be like, oh, this guy's going to be a badass and he's going to do some things. And he wets his pants essentially and goes home.
Right, exactly. And you see, and you see what becomes of it exactly. So
Yeah, and we had a good callback to the bird who got the bird got his, the
Right.
comeuppance of. So
Yes.
I like those things, and it was very fun. And I think they were playing with those. Some of the music worked, some of it didn't. Perfectly fine. I liked some of the interplay. I did really like Ratcatcher 2 being the heart of the film, which I
Right.
thought was very
True.
good. Taika Waititi, her dad, telling that story. So that was the one I think I felt kind of like, at least from a emotional
Yeah.
concept
Like
and character to
an anchor or framework, as it were. Yeah, no, I agree.
yeah. So I did enjoy that, and I did like the fact that although King Shark, I liked him a lot. I feel like he definitely was the Groot of the story, but he was still enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Yes, he was very Groot, a little more sinister bent, a little dirtier language. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's and so in state for the end credits, obviously we knew we were getting a peacemaker.
We're getting a pacemaker. All
well,
right.
that's probably what saved him. We were getting a peacemaker show, so I'm like, how are they gonna do this? Is it gonna be prequel? We obviously found out he's just a stubborn dude, doesn't want to die, and fighting for freedom where there's trouble. It's Peacemaker is there.
He is. He's Duke from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Well, what are the joys of and Todd, your rating since we jumped ahead with that?
Oh, and cons, I just say it really quick. I kind of did feel like, in a lot of ways, it was kind of lame. The Idris Elba character, I liked him a lot, but the problem is he was too much like Deadshot in Deadshot's story of like, oh, it's Kit. It's like they could have done something different, and unfortunately, a lot of these characters, their abilities, they did comment on. Well, why are you here? You don't have unique abilities. My abilities are better than yours. I'm like, okay, so we get it. I did like some of those things. The funniest part, though, was the fact that David Melchionian, the polka dot man,
Dalmatian, yeah,
kept on seeing his mom everywhere. That was great. Love that.
Yes,
big time. Oh my gosh, big time. All right, your rating, and then I'll do a mop up because you guys have said most everything. This will be quick.
I'm going to give the movie an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It met my expectations.
That is good. Well, God, this means I might be the low batter here, but yeah, I mean, you know what? This was with the DC film, certainly since the dynasty of we'll track it all the way back to 2013's A Man of Steel, which is the modern framework of where we're at right now. Everything it's so hit and miss, but so much of it is so damn grim that this was fun, and it wasn't trying to be anything more than kind of what it was. That I liked. I liked. Todd, you touched upon a lot of Gunn's trademarks. Is it a pro or is it a con? In a lot of ways, it's a pro because he's into the violence and the portrayal of that, and that's really kind of what this is about, and that totally works. I embrace the carnage of that opening season thing. It was great to go like Pete Davidson from SNL walking up, just having his face blown off, and then just it was bummer to see Boomerang go away and Mongol, who is a character I didn't really know. That she just jumps up and she's strong enough to whip around, to pull a helicopter down, but not strong enough to survive being caught on fire. So hey. Very tangential powers. And then who is the detachable kid that was Nathan Fillion with the arms? It's like, and so they just shoot his arms and he dies. And it's just like, what is going on here? So yeah, a ton of humor and a ton of really not pulling the punches. Harley is not used to death, which is great because she was to death in the first film. And then she had her own film that was about her. But one thing I really enjoyed about her big fight sequence where she, gets free of her chains and she grabs pistols as she goes and she ends up with the machine guns is that they didn't, certainly until the last scene where they really played it for laughs with all the flowers taking place in the blood, is that it was mercifully free of what I would expect it from a film like this, which would be a lot of slow-mo and techno music or whatever it is. It felt like a fight that you could really see. Because, she's jumping around and smashing things, but it's not like meow with the Matrix and all that. Things that I'm just so super duper sick of. So that's what I remember. I watched it twice. We went into theaters on Thursday and we watched it on HBO this morning just because I wanted to be, as fresh as possible for this. So I dug that. I like his little fun transitional text. So like 3 days ago written on the soapy toilet seat cover or the dirty little secrets elevator button. I really dug that. The gore, again, being intense. For a movie called The Suicide Squad, just does not actually feel out of place. It's crazy. So again, like I said, a lot of the stuff, the music being all over the place kind of got on my nerves because there was nothing thematic in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was all that, awesome mix number one. So the music seemed to really hit the button where this was like bing, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing. You didn't really know where they were going with it. So We did get a nice little troporific at the end with everybody walking in the rain. Slow mo, and it's like, yeah, okay. All we were missing was a big explosion, but that came later. And then I thought the ending was like super uber convenient. Hey, we got this great blackmail solution. I uploaded the information on my wristwatch to a satellite, and now we have blackmail, so we're going to go free. Okay, why not? All right. I got it. I'm going to actually tilt up my score because we were 7.5 and we were an 8. I'm going to give it an 8, just like Todd. Really made me happy. Had a lot of fun.
It sounds like you talked yourself into it. The more we were talking, you're like, I think Charlie liked this more than he thought he was going to.
I did. I tilted up. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 exploding heads. It was pretty sweet. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun, and it was fun to watch again. So I like it.
It's funny, Charlie, you did mention the whole Harley Quinn thing. I think this is the best treatment of her. She is used appropriately. And I think that's with a character like Deadpool and Harley Quinn. Sometimes a little goes a long way. So and now that she's been on the screen many, many times, I think this is the best way to use her versus it just be all Harley all the time, where it can get a little weary on your soul after having that type of character.
Yeah,
but, maybe other people feel differently.
Yeah, I think, like I said, like James does a good job of like giving everyone just enough time to shine, and that was cool. But like again, I was just thinking about like the story, with the Ratcatcher and stuff like that. I thought in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like the with Peter Quill and Yondu, like that story, I thought that was like that they did a better job of like making that like have an emotional hit versus like Ratcatcher and Bloodsport, or that's his name, right? Bloodsport. Yeah.
Yes, blood. Some Deadshot. Blood. What's the other one? Deathstroke. Is
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Blackguard. Blackguard was Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Deathlock is over in Marvel. So that. Yeah. Blackguard. I don't get. But
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, he was the guy with guns. But come on, Chris, you have to admit the emotional point at the end where Idris Elba is caressing the rat really paid off.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because they did keep.
It was the culmination of an emotional journey. You had to like.
How did they train that rat to wave? Oh wait.
They trained it with a computer because.
That's right. That does happen these days, doesn't it? Oh well.
It's spectacular.
Well, this is cool. I mean, we are getting Shang-Chi will be our next comic movie, and then at that point, I think Spider-Man is the next one after that. So we've had more than I thought we would get this year.
Eternals.
So thank goodness.
True.
What's that, Chris?
How
Oh yeah, and Venom 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, Todd, you left out the 2 movies that I know you don't care about.
How did that happen? Oopsie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'm excited about the Eternals though, but
Eternals, I'm cautiously optimistic. Venom,
they've got a lot.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah, Eternals, they've got some heavy lifting ahead because basically it's a property. Even if you're a hardcore comic book fan, there's really no touchstones. People say, yeah, I love that about the Eternals. I think it's just maybe it's their time to say, we're going to make you like Eternals because the comics haven't, so we're going to make our own version that is the best. So that's the best thing I can hope for is the director is an Oscar winner. And they've come up with something that hopefully works with the bigger MCU versus the last time we had a weird team, which was Inhumans, and that went horribly wrong.
The only reason why I'm excited about this is I'm hoping this is where they finally introduce the mutants, like in some way, because they're like, because you see that they're like manufacturing things, they're helping humanity throughout time. So it's like, is this how they segue or at least slightly introduce the mutants? Because we've been teased a lot with a lot of these MCU mutants. Like I'm looking at you, WandaVision, with that freaking Quicksilver thing. I was like, oh, but
how could you? Yeah, exactly. I hear you. Cool.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Well, excellent. Chris, once again, thank you for joining us. Now, before you go, though, tell people where they can find you.
Sure, yeah. Thank you guys again. This was super cool to be able to geek out on something outside of video games. So, but as Todd mentioned, I host with my co-host Tom, the 1 Hour 1 Decision podcast, and our shows come out every Wednesday night. And we are a podcast, a video game podcast, where we take an hour of a game, random game on Xbox Game Pass. We let the RNG decide what game we're playing for the week, and we play that game for an hour, and then we decide if we want to keep playing it or not. So,
Cool.
yeah, and we are our podcast is available on most podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc. And we're on social media, TC1H1D on Twitter, and email TC1H1D@outlook.com. So, hit us up, say hello, and we'll start a conversation of some sort.
Rock on. Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe one day we'll have Chris on the show, or sorry, Tom on the show, and they can, he can tell us why I'm wrong about Star Wars.
That would be interesting. Well, then that's my part. Friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.